Ryan Roberts here with Covcath coach Scott Ruthsatz. Coach, you guys are coming off a state championship and Final Four run last year. I'd say things are pretty good in Park Hills right now.
Yeah, I think we got a lot of momentum, especially from that state championship team. They did a lot of good things. I thought they brought a lot of spotlight to our school and our program. And, the kids kind of buy into what we're trying to do. They work hard. And what we needed those kids to do, the seniors from 2 years ago passed the torch on to the seniors last year, and that's kind of what's happening. Is there's a torch that's passed, and we're really happy about where we're at. The kids are playing extremely hard, and I think the other important thing is beyond playing hard is they all know their roles. So we're really, really blunt with them about where their roles are. Not that they can't, make their roles bigger. But at the end of the day, your role is your role, and that's how you help our team. Whether that's just being a practice player, being a guy that comes in, to relieve somebody for just a minute or two, you have to know that that's your role. And I think with the kids buying in, that's a big, big thing for us at Covenant Catholic.
You lose one of the winningest senior classes from a year ago. How do you think their success helped shape the future of the program moving forward with these guys?
Yeah, I think that just the, kind of the mantra of just working really, really hard. I mean, there's a lot of teams that we play. When you match us up next to each other, we really probably don't match up too well. But we make up for it with just, one, working really hard, two, being really smart. We got some really, really high-level, intelligent kids that know positioning, know angles, know things like that. So I think when you have success at a certain level, those things carry on, and now the torch has been passed, to the senior class. And, I mean, Cole being a junior, we got that torch for another couple of years that, he was able to get as a freshman, which is rare. So we might have to make sure we take care of that, and, and we're passing it in the right way.
Cole in the junior class, Andy Flood in the senior class. How important are those two to the team's success this year?
Well, there are two captains. I typically don't have captains per se, but there are my two guys this year. They come back with the most experience, and they're the guys that really have to run the team. A couple of years ago, we had guys, whether it was Nick or Mark Schultz, really run the team. They have to do that, and so they have to take care of guys that might have some problems or things like that in the locker room, because really the locker room is where you can lose a team and make a difference in a season. So those guys have to make sure that, and I'm fully confident in both of them that they'll make sure that happens. And and then again, they have to pass the torch on to our younger guys, to our juniors and to our sophomores.
Looking at the rest of your roster, who are some new names and faces that we should expect to see step up this year for your team?
So some of the sophomores that will be playing varsity, we have C.J. Frederick that played freshman last year, but kind of has grown and gotten a lot stronger, and playing very, very well. He can do a lot of different things. We have Aiden Ruthsatz that is kind of coming on. He's going to kind of fill into that point guard spot. To make sure that, he has to understand. And the good thing for that is you had Nick. Nick has brought him a long, long way from where he was 2 years ago, kind of working with him in the summertime. So Aiden will be valuable there. We'll also have Jake Walter, obviously, being almost 7 foot now. He'll be that role player that could come in. And then A.J. Mayer, we haven't seen him yet this year, but coming off the football season, A.J. was our leading scorer last year as a sophomore on the JV. He does the little things that a lot of other guys can't do, and just being physical, being really aggressive, and being real confident in himself. So those are some guys that you see. I would also say Luke Lenihan is another kind of point guard. He'll be running the JV show the beginning of the year, but I'm not afraid to move him up and play him some minutes on the varsity level as well. He's doing really well in practice, kind of leading, and Aiden and him together do very well in the backcourt.
How does this year's senior class compare to some of the others with Hepler and Sweeney among others?
It's a little bit. It's kind of like a little bit like a couple years ago in the fact that if you take out like Nick, all those guys were kind of DeMarc Schultz and the Ben Heplers. They were just getting their first chance at some major playing time. So for this year, getting Will back was a major accomplishment for us. When he tore his labrum against Moeller this summer, getting him back, he just brings energy. Austin Sweeney working on bringing energy. Noah Lenhoff, I thought, did well, especially today, of just, spreading out the defense, knocking down jump shots. And those guys just got to play with confidence. And then Andy dislocated his finger a couple weeks ago, and but he should be back soon. And then Ryan Massey. Ryan's going to be one of those guys where you just tell him to go run around for 2 minutes, defend their guy, and he'll do whatever it takes. He has a way of just he has a winning mindset. Just won a soccer state championship. So he'll do whatever we need, and those are the type of seniors that we need. Doesn't matter. He's not worried about minutes. He's not worried about points. He's worried about what can I do for my team to be successful. And then we got some juniors, that'll help. Ian Galvin, will sub in from time to time. Ross Bassford, Gunnar Shue, they're shooting, and they're trying to find their way right now in the lineup where they fit. But eventually, like I told him after the game today, your role is your role, but we're always working to be the number one guy, even though that might never happen, because you never know with injuries, right? Sickness, whatever. You got to be ready at all times.
Depth is obviously going to be a strength with this team, but with having more young guys this year, what are the strengths and what are you still trying to work on?
Well, I think the strength is the skill level that these younger kids have. They play, the major AAU circuits. They do a lot of different things. They can, most of them can handle. They're very well skilled. But with that comes, when you're in a high school environment, just some of those things with sophomores, right? Not knowing the plays, forgetting the plays, maybe getting caught up in a situation or in an atmosphere. And those type of things we expect with the sophomores, and we just got to kind of work through them. And that's why we play the schedule we do. We try to get all that out before we hit that schedule at the end of February, so we can make sure we're fully prepared for anything that we're going to see in the state tournament, regional tournament, district tournament.
Looking at your schedule, you play Quentin Gooden, Xavier commit, Jerron Cumberland, Cincinnati commit, among others. What are expectations like for this team?
Well, we're just gonna work. We got to grind out, and typically the guys that got to grind it out are like the Austin Sweeneys, the Ian Galvins, the AJ Mayers. They're going to have to grind those, and just making sure we always have somebody fresh on those. We don't have any one guy that can defend those guys individually, but collectively, what we try to do is we try to have them, contain them to some degree. You can't do it because they're such great players, but you have to make the other guys around them do more. And that's going to be just a revolving door of fresh bodies, and strategy of just kind of scouting them and see what they can do.
Coach, appreciate your time. Good luck this year.